This is what I think. I look at the problem and say I put the variable squared or variable expression squared on the left and constants on the right. Then I make sure the squared part is by itself. Then I take the square root of both sides, not forgetting the plus or minus, and then I simplify the radical. So for the first problem, there are the steps. It says variable squared or variable expression squared on the left, constants on the right. Here's the square of the variable. I need to get rid of the 8, so I'll divide both sides by 8. So this says that x squared equals 5. Now I'll take the square root of both sides, so that the square root of x squared equals, don't forget the plus or minus the square root of 5. If I take the square root of one side, I must take the square root of the other side. I get that x equals plus or minus the square root of 5. Square root of 5 can't be simplified. If it were something like the square root of 20, I could break it down because 20 has a 4. This is actually x equals the square root of 5, or x equals the opposite of the square root of 5. Plus or minus means that it has two answers. We normally tend to write it just as plus or minus the square root of 5. Now, variable squared. Here's the variable squared right there. That means I need to get him by himself. To do that, I'm going to have to subtract 49 from both sides, so that 4x squared equals the opposite of 49. I still need to get x squared by itself, so I need to divide both sides by 4. So I get that x squared is minus 49 over 4. Now the square is by itself, so I take the square root of both sides, square root, don't forget the plus or minus. So that x equals plus or minus the square root of negative 49 over 4, which is the same as what? As a simplified radical.
7 over 2.
7 over 2?
Negative.
7 over 2i. Remember what this is. It's plus or minus the square root of 49 over 4 times negative 1. Which is plus or minus the square root of 49 over 4 times the square root of negative 1. So that x equals plus or minus square root of 49 fourths is 7 halves. The square root of negative 1 is I.